Hello and welcome, my friends. It's not unusual for a man to dream of getting married and becoming a father, and to achieve this, he might put in all his effort and money. But for this dream to turn him into a bank robber is something quite unheard of. However, the intense desire of British employee Red Domingo, 58 years old, to become a father made him a professional bank robber. His desperate need for money to pay off his accumulated debts during the journey of in vitro fertilization, which cost him over $250,000, led him down this path. Despite managing to have one daughter, the consequences of what he did cost him dearly, forcing him to live away from her, the very child for whom he committed all these robberies, which eventually landed him in prison. Red Domingo found himself in a severe financial crisis starting in 1998, the year his only daughter Angelique was born. He was unable to maintain the lifestyle he and his American wife, Patrice, whom he described as his true soulmate, were accustomed to, as he revealed in an interview where he shared the details of his story. Red and Patrice lived in a large house surrounded by orange trees, overlooking the ocean and the mountains in Southern California. He worked in his father's biotechnology company, and his salary was enough to allow them to live a comfortable life. Red Domingo would leave his office daily at noon to have lunch, but this short break became an opportunity for him to carry out bank robberies to collect enough money to pay off his mounting debts. The idea of robbing banks came to him in 2000 after receiving safety training at the company where he worked. In one of the sessions, it was mentioned that bank tellers must comply with robbers' demands and hand over the money immediately to ensure their personal safety. Before this, Domingo had mortgaged his house twice, maxed out his credit cards, and was no longer able to obtain additional loans. This left him in a state of distress and despair, unable to sleep at night, constantly thinking of a way out. In June 2000, Red had to pay nearly $12,000 to cover his debt installments and pay off overdue bills. He decided one day that the next day he would rob a bank. On the scheduled day, Red Domingo left his office during his lunch break and headed to the nearest branch of the bank he regularly dealt with so he could quickly disappear after the robbery. To throw off the police and bank employees, Red changed his clothes, wore a cap and reflective sunglasses, and carried a motorcycle helmet in his hand, so the search would focus on a biker rather than a car driver. He entered the bank, approached the teller, and handed him a printed note, so he wouldn't have to speak and reveal his British identity through his distinctive accent. The note read, "Stay calm. I'm not joking. Follow these instructions, and everything will be fine. Put $10,000 in the bag, using $100, $50, and $20 bills. Don't use counterfeit money or die packs." The bank employee complied with the instructions and handed the money to Red, who quickly left the place, telling himself, "You won't do this again." But when he found the $10,000 in the bag, he felt a surge of happiness and quickly changed his mind. 10 days later, he robbed $1,615 from the same bank chain. In the following month, he carried out 2 more robberies, netting $14,109 and $5,150. In November, he stole $10,079, in January, $8,262, in February, $3,402, in March, $4,435, and finally in July, he stole $5,072. On one occasion, he took his 3-year-old daughter to daycare, leaving her asleep in the car seat while he went in to get the money. The total amount Red Domingo stole reached about $64,000 in cash over 9 bank robberies in San Diego County, California. Red Domingo was arrested in 2002, a year after he began his string of robberies. He says, 3 FBI agents woke up my wife while I was in the living room, and that's when she found out what I had done. None of his friends or family members knew what he was doing, especially since 2 of his friends were police officers, his father-in-law was a surgeon, and his father was the owner of a chain of companies in Britain and America. He carried out the robberies and disguised himself so effectively that no one could identify him. Even the press thought these robberies were the work of a gang of multiple members, dubbing them the Easy Rider Gang, as he wore a motorcycle helmet with stars and stripes similar to those seen in the 1969 film of the same name. To capture him, Washington Mutual Bank offered a $2,500 reward, while the FBI was investigating to catch the culprit. His identity was eventually revealed by the manager of one of the robbed bank branches, who recognized him from a bulletin prepared by the surveillance camera specialist, as he was a frequent visitor to the bank before. Red Domingo was sentenced to 4 years in prison and was deported to the United Kingdom after his release, where he currently lives in the town of Maidenhead, Berkshire. Due to his criminal record, he is permanently banned from entering the United States. Although he lives in Britain, his wife and daughter still reside in the United States, and he is unable to meet them in person. However, their relationship remains close despite the distance. Patrice attempted to live and settle with her husband and daughter in the UK in 2010, but couldn't adapt to the conditions there, especially since her business was in California and her father was ill and needed care. So she returned home in 2013. Angelique, who is now 24 years old, completed her studies and works with the Transportation Security Administration in Portland, Oregon. Despite being imprisoned for 15 years, Red is still trying hard to get a visa to enter the United States and live with his family again. His lawyer believes he has a chance to achieve this since he can prove that he has been rehabilitated and has maintained a clean criminal record for 15 years. This was the story of Red Domingo, the mastermind behind the bank robberies that shook California. What can we learn from this story? Perhaps that intelligence without morals can lead to one's downfall. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more intriguing stories. See you in the next video.